I'm all like this, Anyway, they watch this video from I greet you specially. Normally, and I know that today, October 23rd, now the Supreme Court sit concerning the election matter with Peter Obi, Atiku, and against Emilokon, APC, and INEC. Sharply, I go give now the transcript. I go read the transcript given now based on way everything we saw for inside the Supreme Court lifestyle today. This one not be say I did not mean I not they try to give anybody hope concerning this matter, because me personally I not get any hope concerning this matter. Say anything will come outside, and just for the sake of people we get interest in the matter, and based on say I personally I believe say anything we person start, it good me you see them through to the end. Me say the matter want to end. Not say I get any hope for the matter. Sharply, I will just give you the details of what is up today for the travel lifestyle. First of all, the judges were they in charge of this Supreme Court matter. So based on today now, 7-member panel of the Supreme Court is being led by John Okoro. They are Uwani Abba Aji, Lawal Garba, Ibrahim Solawa, Adamu Jairo, Tijani Abubakar, and Emmanuel Agim. All of them are SAN San. So Atiku's case was called up, and Chris Uche SAN stood for him. Abubakar Mahmoud SAN is standing for INEC. I don't remember all these names. Wale Olanikpekun SAN is standing in for Tinubu Shetima, and Akin Olujimi is standing in SAN is standing in for APC. So brief summary of what happened so far for the Supreme Court lifestyle today. So say Chris Uche SAN, Obias Atiku lawyer, so says the appeals are ripe for hearing. He said there are some pending interlocutory application and moves a motion filed 6 October 2023. He seeks 5 minutes of adumbration of the application. They are praying for an order of leave to present fresh evidence on appeal based on the depositions on oath from Chicago State University. He said the application is predicated on 20 grounds and an affidavit of 20 paragraphs filed on behalf of Atiku. He went on to say upon the receipt of counter affidavit from Mr. Tinubu, APC, and INEC, they filed a written address dated 18th of October. He adopts the application and urges the court to grant their request. Chris Uche also said the issue involving Tinubu's certificate is a weighty, grave, and constitutional one, which the Supreme Court. He urged the court to admit the fresh evidence of President Tinubu's academic records from Chicago State University presented by Atiku. He said the Supreme Court has a duty to take a look at Mr. Tinubu's records and reach a decision devoid of technicality. The presiding judge, John Okoro SAN, asked Chris Uche SAN whether the Supreme Court should rely on the Electoral Act or the Constitution. In his response, Chris Uche says the issue about Mr. Tinubu's certificate is a constitutional matter which the court should look into. A member of the panel, Emmanuel Agim, asks Chris Uche to explain the nature of Atiku's fresh document he seeks to tender before the Supreme Court. Justice Agim asked whether the testimony by Chicago State University registrar was conducted in a court. Justice Agim says from Chris Uche's court filing, the testimony by the Chicago State University registrar held in Atiku's lawyer's law firm in the US. Justice Agim says the CSU did not issue any letter discrediting Mr. Tinubu's certificate. They give us signs once more. We are dealing with a matter that touches on the national unity of Nigeria, the justice also says. Justice Okoro seeks clarification from Atiku's lawyer, Chris Uche. Justice Okoro asks Mr. Uche on why he wants the Supreme Court to brush aside constitutional provisions and entertain the fresh evidence. Chris Uche SAN explained that that Section 233 of the Constitution gives the Supreme Court the power to entertain questions about whether a person has been properly elected. Chris Uche responds to the issue raised about the CSU proceedings. There is a slight distinction between proceedings in the US and the UK. In the US, that is how court proceedings are done. Mr. Tinubu was represented by a US lawyer, but he did not object to the proceedings being held in Atiku's lawyer's office. Chris Uche said the depositions are more effective than letters from the CSU authorities regarding the authenticity of Mr. Tinubu's academic records. At 9:43 a.m., Justice Okoro says criminal matters have to be proved beyond reasonable doubt, but in this case, there are two conflicting letters from the CSU, one authenticating the president's certificate and another discrediting it. Which do we rely on, he asked. Chris Uche refers the court to a letter earlier issued to Michael Enahoro Eba, a lawyer who testified for Atiku against Mr. Tinubu at the presidential election court in Abuja. ANEC lawyer Abubakar Mahmood SAN asked the Supreme Court to dismiss Atiku's application seeking to tender Mr. Tinubu's academic records. Wole Olanipekun SAN appealed to the Supreme Court to dismiss this very unusual application seeking to tender fresh evidence against Mr. Tinubu. He says the fresh evidence is not admissible. Olanipekun argues that the CSU depositions are dormant until the deponent comes to court and testify. INEC should have been a party at the deposition proceedings in the US, the Erronera says. The question of 180 days, the statutory period within which an election petition should be filed and determined, is clear. It is sacrosanct that can't be shifted. Therefore, Atiku can't seek to tender fresh evidence at the Supreme Court. Wole Olanipekun SAN for Tinubu Shetima said Atiku's fresh evidence is an application in Wonderland and has no merit. He urged the court to dismiss it, stating that the court is bound by the law and the law must be interpreted as it is. Akin Olujimi SAN for APC added that the application not only lacks merit but is misconceived. He also urged the court to dismiss it. He went on to say you cannot smuggle in documents at the Supreme Court without first tendering same at the trial or appeal court. Justice Okoro asked what should be done with the fresh evidence. Olujimi SAN for APC said the burden is on Atiku's lawyers to prove beyond reasonable doubt why the Supreme Court should admit fresh evidence. Chris Uche SAN for Atiku said the position should be admissible in court. Olanipekun jokingly pointed out some contradictions in Atiku's prayers, where he prayed the court to disqualify Tinubu in one breath and in another called for a rerun between him and Tinubu. The court allowed the appeal and set aside judgment. The court can't go after that one. The court can't go recess. As I say, the court can't allow for that appeal. I don't know anything you take out to mean. Take out like that. So the 7-member panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice John Okoro, has reserved judgment in the appeal of Atiku Abubakar and PDP after hearing the argument of the counsels. Justice Okoro said a date will be communicated to lawyers when the judgment is ready. That's what they talk for Atiku matter finish. After that one, because they do APM matter. For the APM matter, because the APM has withdrawn its appeal challenging Tinubu's election victory after the Supreme Court chastised APM's counsel for bringing in a frivolous appeal on an issue already decided by the Supreme Court. The court will now hear Labour Party's matter. So after Atiku matter, the court start APM matter. That APM matter not just tea. They just as your one APM say the matter they carry no water at all. Now the APM kuku they withdraw their case from Supreme Court. So like so the APM don't come out hand remaining Peter Obi and Atiku. Now the court start Atiku matter. So Dr. Livy Uzoku SAN, standing in for Labour Party and Peter Obi, urged the court to allow his client's appeal. He prayed the court to set aside the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Court in Abuja, which affirmed Tinubu's election. The Supreme Court reserved judgment on the Labour Party and Peter Obi and Labour Party's appeal, seeking to invalidate Tinubu's election. A date for ruling will be communicated. So now, so the matter take place inside the tribunal last Saturday. So, but if you follow what I just read, give you now, so you go notice say the body language of the seven-man panel of judges for this matter. So, the body language already tilts towards where appeal court follow. That's to say, from the look of things, hope not deal. So in case if people will get hope for this matter, so you want to say hope. As far as I'm concerned, hope not deal. But that not me say we will see follow the matter as they go. Make we know what they solve for the country. All of us know where we deal. I beg this first of all, this update na courtesy Miss Perez for Twitter, and she bring this update come now I give now. So I beg, as you watch the video, don't forget to also share and make other people will get interest to know what they solve. Make them feel say and make them know what they solve for the Nigerian lifestyle. Anyway, just thank God for everything.